What's up, everyone? Saito here. This isn't a very common thing that I'm gonna be doing very often. This isn't gonna be like a reoccurring segment of me doing this sort of shit, whatever. But I just kind of felt like I had to get this off my mind since it's a like new thing that's going on. I wouldn't say it's new. It's been a problem for a while now, but now that Street Fighter Five decided to do its adjustment patch, it didn't end up panning out what we thought it was gonna be. So I figured I'd go a little bit off the cuff and just kind of say how this kind of makes me feel, how this whole landscape of how fighting games have been recently when it comes to their online has been not so good, especially on the Japanese side of things. That's the thing about it, is that can I say like fighting games Netcodes or online has been not very good. I'm kind of mostly meaning the Japanese side or the Asian side, because it comes to Western developed fighting games, or even ones that are ports of fighting games done by Western people, Western sides, they kind of get it. They know that we should have like very good functional like rollback netcode, things like that. They know that we should have that stuff, because a lot of these games, good chunk of them, or hell, almost all of them, the big portion of your fighting game is your multiplayer. It's not, your like, some of them have single player modes, some of them have story modes, some of them have all these other things, but the bulk of the game is going to be multiplayer, which means playing against another player, another person. And when the big portion of your game doesn't function, more or less, doesn't function well, then you're selling a trash product. There's no other way to put it. And some people try to defend these kind of things, like, oh, well, you can just go to a local, or you gotta go to tournaments and things like that. I'm like, that's not really a viable option for a lot of people. Or in general, that's just not a good that's not a good justification for your online to be complete trash. Like, so these companies that clearly have money, they have money to make these games. Hell, in a lot of cases, it costs more for them to make their own netcode or use these things like that than to just use GGPO or get a rollback netcode to be working properly. In some ways, it costs more for them to do that. But so these companies will spend all this money on these games and develop these games, and then on top of that, they'll make you have to pay $90 plus whatever other season pass bullshit they want you to charge down the line, or immediately on day one in a lot of cases. But you won't know what's going to be in your season pass till months and months down the line. So give or take, your little fighting game is now 130 something, $140 down the drain, and the most basic thing, fucking online multiplayer, doesn't work because they didn't want to even remotely try making it functional. And people out there will defend this and go, oh, well, it's fine for me, and if when I play against my friends who all live in the same near vicinity, and no one's using the internet for something else, and my sister's not on Netflix, and I'm also wired, and you see I have to add all these layers of caveats to make their internet functional for it to be a good experience for them. It's not, oh, just make it work and then that's it. Most of the time, for a lot of rollback netcode, well done rollback netcode, you don't have to. You could play while Tanisha's on your fucking Netflix watching Big Mouth season 3 for the 8th time in a row. You can be online and it's still pretty decent. It's not great. Obviously, it's not going to be the best, but I mean, it's still doable. In a lot of cases, if a lot of well-implemented rollback, you can play on Wi-Fi with other Wi-Fi players, and it will actually run relatively well. Not the best. Obviously, it's never going to be beaten by Wired. But even with Wired, a lot of these delay-based netcodes out there of these Japanese companies, they're not good anyways. I play Wired as much as I can, and I'll play against people, and it's terrible. It's complete trash. Basically everything, all these games these days. And we try to tell these companies we want it this way. And the thing is that they're not going to do it. A lot, more or less, like, the only company that's, in terms of the Japanese companies that kind of gets it is Capcom. But even then, like, unfortunately, they didn't do what they should have done when it comes to fixing for Street Fighter 5s. But it's clear that they found what the issue was when they moved on to Marvel's Capcom Infinite. They found the issue and got it working. It's much, much better. Infinitely better. No pun intended. But that's the problem. A lot of people played Street Fighter 5, but a lot of people, well, generally speaking, not many people bought Marvel's Capcom Infinite in comparison. Though it apparently made almost 2 million sales, so it means people bought it more than we like to think. But anyways, so that because of that game not doing so well in terms of its online, among other things during launch, people have a negative perception of how rollback netcode works, but in reality it works really well when it's done well. And the thing that I find also really stupid about a lot of these companies is that they sometimes try to be like, oh well, we can't add it back into a game that's currently existing. We've already done this work now on this current game, even though it's upcoming, it's not done yet. Like, for example, we have things like Guilty Gear Strive and Grand Blue and shit like that either technically haven't fully come out yet for everyone or haven't come out yet at all. And we tell them we want rollback netcode, and then they're like, oh, well, we're already working on this thing, or oh, this already works for us, we can't really do it. And yet we have examples of companies that have taken games that had delay-based netcode, really bad delay-based netcode, and they went out of their way to fix it and add it in. We have games like Mortal Kombat X, and we have, Garo Mark of the Wolves from SNK. These are two very big gaps in terms of, like, budget and company size and all the other shit that people like to use as their excuses. So we have one of the biggest companies of WB Games and NetherRealms who went out of their way to fix their game and add in the rollback netcode and all these things like that. And then we have SNK that went and fixed up Garo Mark of the Wolves. And I'm sure they fixed other games too. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% certain about what they did with the other older titles, adding it back in. So don't, go, oh, but this thing is not. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But that's two different spectrums of games where they basically did it. They showed that it can be done from all high and low level of, like, budget sizes or team sizes, things like that. So when I look at Namco Bandai, or when I look at Arc System Works, and when they go, oh, we can't really do that, or it's a law of work, I'm like, yeah, you just don't care. You don't want to try. Because the problem about it is that not only did they not want to try, but the fan base, the people that buy these products, they show that they're willing to put up with this garbage. And they're going to keep taking this garbage. And they're not going to complain. They're going to keep taking it. And that's one of the reasons why, like, if you've been following me on Twitter, I said, like, recently, I said, from now on, any fighting game that comes out, if it does not have a good, well-implemented rollback netcode, I'm not buying it. That's it. Like, I'm a blanket statement across the board. I don't give a shit what the game is. It could be King of Fighters 15. It can be Virtua Fighter 6. It can be Samurai Showdown 8. It could even be Smash 7, like the next Smash Brothers. I don't give a shit. I'm not buying it. I don't care. I'm not buying it if it doesn't have good functional rollback netcode. Because I'm sick of this. I'm not putting up with it anymore. Because me and a bunch of other people out there have the same situation. We just, for when it comes to these kind of games, besides, like, maybe minus Smash, because it's the game always be active regardless, no matter where you are. It's always going to be a decently sized scene for you, no matter what area you're living at. But, like, when it comes to other fighting games, especially in my area or most areas out there, like, nobody's going to fucking buy a King of Fighters. No, to be able to play locally with. Nobody wants to play King of Fighters. Nobody wants to play, the next whatever. Like, at most, maybe there'll be people who want to play the next Mortal Kombat, but my issue with Mortal Kombat games or NRS games is that they basically go by a cycle, like 1 to 2 years, and that's it. And then they're always expensive, and then they just drop, and then that's it. And the previous game doesn't exist anymore. And I personally can't buy into that sort of thing. I like games that will last a while. That's why, if you've been following my opinions, I'm playing mostly old-ass fucking, like, old man games now. Because they all have functioning netcode. They all have good netcode, and the games themselves they're not. I wouldn't say that they're simple. I wouldn't say that they're dumb, but it's like they don't have like the way how a lot of games these days where they kind of like force certain ways of how you have to play them, or like you have to play them constantly to be up to date and shit like that. Like you can get by with a lot of these older games with just good raw fundamentals, and that's what I like about a lot of older games. On top of their netcode, most of the time, if they have a means to play online, it's wonderful, way better than anything that's currently out. And like I would love to play games like Killer Instinct. I'd love to play Battle for the Grid and things like that, but there isn't really a scene for these kind of games. At least not in the areas that I'm at. And they have good netcode, but I don't know, you can only play online so much, you know what I mean? But at least when you have good ass netcodes, or you have people that actually play them, that's the thing also, is that people will say that, oh, I play X game, but they don't actually play it. They don't really do it. Like even in my own local community before I left, there will be people who say they play certain games, but they don't actually play it. They don't really want to play it when it's available. Oh, I play Garo. Oh, I play Skullgirls. Oh, I play this. You go to play it. I'd rather play something else. Give me that Arxis shit, or give me this. I want to play this thing instead. Like, they don't really want to play it. They really want to play something else. They want you to play what they want to play, and that's it. There's no, there's no give and take. That was one of the big problems, and a lot of local communities have that problem. A lot of scenes have that, where you basically have to conform to it. And if you already play or like that kind of game, then power to you. That's you got the jackpot. But a lot of us don't have that kind of luck. We don't have the luck of being able to join, a local scene that has exactly what you want to play, and that's it. Like they will stick to it, and that's it. Most of them they'll jump on to the next thing, or it won't be what you want to play, or people don't have the drive that to really put in the work that you want to put into it. Like they don't have that same competitive drive that you have, or to them it's more just a thing for fun. It's just to hang out, and it's not really a thing for competing to get stronger, or so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that can pile up to make not all locals are great, more or less. Let alone the fact that once again we have to basically we gotta spend gas or Ubers or taxis or whatever. You gotta spend money to go to a place, pay money to be at the place if it's if the place has a venue fee, and obviously you're gonna be there for a while, so you're paying you're buying food and things like that, or whatever's in the venue or area wherever you're playing at, and that's basically every week you're spending anywhere between 20 to maybe even $60 every single week. And in some cases, there's some scenes out there where people don't even want to go if they themselves don't have a means to get to there. And if you're a person who has a car, and I guess you're the FGC taxi, and you gotta start picking everybody up in order to make a scene happen. And and a lot of times it's not worth it. Who knows if those people that you're even driving to and from, if they're even going to pay you back your gas. Are they even going to really put in the work? Are they really even trying to get better? All these factors. When if you just had good, well-functioning netcode, good functioning rollback netcode, it wouldn't be as big of a problem. Because you go, yeah, my locals suck. But hey, at least the online's good, and I can play with people online, and it'll work really well, as if I'm playing almost as if at a local level. Not perfect, but it will be close to it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm rambling, but trying to roll it back and keep to a consistent point. But that's how I feel. I feel like it's baffling that the community as a whole kind of just sits there and puts up with non-functioning features in their video games, and they'll keep on buying in again and again and again, and they'll tell other people, oh, you better buy this game, or oh, if you don't like that game, you gotta come over to our game, ours is so good. And I'm like, okay, but is the online good? And then they're suddenly silent. And it's yeah, you're not any better. Like when I seen this recent Street Fighter 5 thing, we got these people coming out the woodworks. Ha ha ha! Street Fighter 5 netcode patch didn't work. Ha ha! Guys, just come over and play our game. Our game is so good. Fuck you guys. Yeah, come over to Grand Blue. Come over to our game. And I'm like, no, your online's actually worse in some ways, and your game won't be lasting long anyways. In the case of some cases, it won't even last that long anyways. Quite frankly speaking, not even that. It's like, I don't know. If you're the only way you can get people to want to touch your game is to shit on what they currently already play, you're not going to get anyone to want to touch it. It's counterintuitive. I know that I myself kind of did that a little bit back for a while, but like I look back and it's like clearly it didn't work, and clearly they didn't have any interest in it anyways. So it's like whatever, why bother? But my basic point is, like, we should strive to we deserve more for our products, more or less. Like, we deserve to be given better for what we pay for. Like, I feel like we should be expecting a lot more for when we put down our money for our product. If it's not good, if a large portion of that product isn't working, then like, why are we paying for it in the first place? Why are you buying these games in the first place? Imagine if the latest Call of Duty or whatever game came out, and a lot of people buy a lot of people will buy the latest Call of Duty or latest Battlefield or all these other games. They will buy, or the next, even hell, Overwatch 2 coming out. Imagine if you bought Overwatch 2 or the next Call of Duty, whatever, and your multiplayer just doesn't work. Imagine how angry people will be. That's what I'm saying about this when it comes to fighting games. People are justifying the biggest portion of their game, the multiplayer, the online multiplayer, not working, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, it's fine. This is great. Love it. This company never makes anything bad." More conclusion: you guys deserve and should expect more from your products when you pay for it. Alright, peace out.